What's up? This is Shadow Rock and Profo Won of the Floor Gangs and Knuckleneck Tribe, and you're watching the Trades Special Jam Edition Style Elements 23rd Anniversary. And who I got here, I call the missing link, my man, representing Southern California and Style Elements, and originality stands alone. We got my dude, Stunt Man. How you doing, man?
Doing amazing, man. We are here celebrating 23 years. I've known this crew for mad long. I've been down for 17 years, so just enjoying the journey.
Yo, so this is the thing. This is what's crazy. So I had Cujo on and I had Ruin on, and they talked about So Cal, early 90s, mid 90s, late 90s. And the thing is, I want to say it right here online, you know, I don't know if you remember, I battled you at Summit 97.
I don't remember.
Okay, the thing is, I was doing like a fusion of capoeira and freestyle dancing, and you saw me go in the cypher. You saw that I was doing that style, and you went right in, and you were throwing your signatures.
That sounds like something I would do, especially at that time.
Yeah, because I was like, I didn't have my full like breaking foundation. I was just like kind of freestyle housing to all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yo, to hear that from Cujo and from Ruin, that you're representing that style for a long time and continuing with it. You know what? As time progresses, what held you to keep on with that style of mixing the ups, the tops, the freestyle hip hop with your breaking?
For me, it was a formula that I was comfortable with, and it wasn't even a formula initially. It was just the cats that I saw and I was first inspired by weren't really breakers. It was a lot of freestyle dancers, a lot of in LA they called it tribal dancing, which is pretty much just freestyle house. And then one of my boys named D-Rock that actually quoted Originality Stands Alone started calling it the combination of all that like ups. So the people I was watching weren't breakers, but they had breaking moves that they would throw in their dancing. So I was inspired by that, and then taking little things and snippets from my inspirations and whatever I was comfortable with is kind of what guided me with the dictation of the music. So that was like my pocket and my comfort zone, and I just flew with it, and I never looked back.
And what's crazy is that I remember like back in the late 90s, you would come out to the jams and you and G Wits would have shirts like Got Ups and stuff like that. So now fast forward to like 2009, 2010, you start seeing dancing being predominantly and musicality be predominantly with the B-boys. So how do you feel that? Do you feel like, yo, I was doing that? Were you like, I was doing that way back then, or were you kind of like, finally, this is happening?
I think through the years, both has happened. I found myself going, about time these guys are caught up. And on another aspect, not to sound bitter, but I was like, oh, you're just discovering that? Like some of us have been doing that for 20 years. But it's not their fault, so I can hold myself responsible for that, for trying to make it seem like I did something new, because I didn't do anything new. I just happened to shine at a time where that wasn't being paid attention to. So I'm glad, and I'm really blessed to be around long enough to see it come back around and come back hard.
Yeah, because if you trip, like, before there was all styles, you're kind of doing all styles, you know what I mean? Like, so now that you see like there's this progression in the movement, especially in breaking, there's more dancing. Do you feel like B-boys need to dance more? Are you satisfied with what's going on? Like, how do you feel right now about the scene?
I think there's certain individuals out there that I'll catch in the club or in the cypher, and there's things that they do, and they're big names that in my head I'm like, yo, why don't you show some of that in some of these competitions? Because yeah, you're doing what it takes to win, but if some of these new kids saw that you're at where I see what you do in those ciphers, like maybe they'll be inspired to keep dancing instead of trying to win with these big moves. So I think being able to bring that vibe and that feeling into the competition world, especially some cats with the bigger names, can really influence some of the younger kids to to realize, yo, that's how it should be done. I could do that too.
So, I mean, okay, so we're from a different generation where we grew up with the MC Hammers and the Bobby Browns and all that foundation. So this generation doesn't really have that. So what would you tell the young viewers out there how to get that groove? Like, because obviously it's a different groove right now. People are dancing, but it's a totally different groove. So what's your suggestion to them to get that essence of that bop or that rock or that jack? Like, what's your advice for them?
I think the biggest thing, and Urban said it best, try to be a product of your environment. So what's going on where you're at, and not only globally, but like when you came up, obviously for us it's early 90s, but if you're coming up in 2000, 2005, 2010, what is your environment like? What's being influenced, and how could you mesh, and really fuse that with what you're doing already? Because in my opinion, and I'm a very strong believer of this, if I'm a B-boy anything that I do, even if it's not a breaking move, since I'm a b-boy and I carry myself like a b-boy, anything I do automatically becomes breaking. So being able to embrace that and also encourage others to do that, so that there's no, so that people aren't hindering themselves and they're not embarrassed or ashamed to be able to do that. Because as a b-boy, anything I do is automatically a breaking move. From a teacup to a walrus to a spermicidal maniac.
Yeah, I name my moves too.
Yeah.
All right, so where can they find you on social media platforms?
I heavily run the clothing line, which is Originality Stands Alone, on Instagram. I just got my own Instagram. Somebody convinced me, the BBoy Stuntman. And of course, Facebook, it's Ricky Stuntman Rock Any.
And that's why I tagged you. You'll see that right here. All right, give it up for Stuntman. Check more interviews out here on Facebook.com/Freestyle Session Worldwide. We're watching the trades. I'm gonna interview you next.
You never tell the truth, bro. He's
Peace.
all the time, dude.